5 elements of good strategy. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. And this work is designed to help the chief executive clarify their thinking and transform their performance in the area of business strategy and long-term business value. So the first element is purpose or predicament. I'm going to be doing this by telling a series of short stories. So Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lived in a society that enslaved and discriminated against the African American. This predicament led him into the civil rights movement and fashioned his purpose in life as a minister. He said, "I just want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go up to the mountain, and I've looked over and I've seen the promised land." I've been to the mountaintop was a speech that he gave in 1968 at the Mason Temple in Memphis, Tennessee, and there's a video link, it's 2 minutes 37 seconds, in the YouTube description box below. Okay, your predicament, just like Dr. Martin Luther King, your predicament can fuel your vision and have the same motivational effect on you and your business, because it provides the feeling container of your purpose. It gives meaning to your work and voice to your values. So when you develop a strategy out of your predicament, both it and you sound coherent. The second element is unique, not best. And this is from a comment from Michael Porter, the Harvard Business School professor. Now, throughout his career, he's brought economic theory and strategy concepts to many of the most challenging problems facing business and society today. So, when he says most companies don't have a strategy, it's worth considering his words. So when he says most companies, out of the thousands of companies that he's worked with, most companies don't have a strategy, it's worth considering his words. Porter says, the problem lies in the way we think about competition. It's not your job to compete to be the best. It's the wrong way to think about competition, says Porter. Your job is to create a unique company and deliver something your competitors can't offer. So the second element is you're looking at developing a unique company and deliver something that your competitors can't offer, not trying to be the best, not benchmarking to be the best about every conceivable benchmark, but focusing on the uniqueness of your company. The third element is titled Explain Yourself Fully. Rossa Reeves, an American advertising executive, pioneered the use of television in the late 1950s. He introduced the idea of the unique selling proposition, the USP, which we all know today, to explain the reason why your customers should buy. Anacin, which relieves headaches, is one of the earliest and best examples of a concerted television marketing campaign created by Reeves using the USP. This particular Anacin television campaign helped to triple product sales, which may also have been influenced by the fact that television was new, but the point is it helped to triple product sales. And in that campaign, the reasons for buying are simple, and they're repeated, and they're explained fully, scientifically. Tension, pressure, pain, he explains repeatedly and at length within the constraints of a short television commercial. And there is a link to the video below. Tension, pressure, pain. Scientific advice, tension, pressure, pain, scientific evidence. Relieve yourself of your headache fast by taking Anacin. So explain yourself fully. The fourth element of good strategy from our perspective is to tell a story. And I'm going to tell the story of your brain. Translating your strategy into a story allows your audience to explore their experience in a way that logic and analysis cannot. Let me explain that. Traditional Western brain descriptions talk about your left and right hemispheres processing words or pictures. Modern neuroscience has moved it into a more systemic picture, but still there are the traditional Western brain descriptions of the left and right hemispheres. And much of the business emphasis is still on your prefrontal cortex, sometimes called the executive brain. The midbrain is not part of the business narrative, but it is in yoga science. In yoga science, the midbrain is a central power and distribution center, and it sits right between your ears, at the top of your brain stem, communicating with your brain, with your central nervous system, and with your heart. And it likes stories. Romeo and Juliet, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and Harry Potter. So a story can take your strategy to places the executive brain cannot. And that's a lot of value for your brain to ignore. The fifth and final element is be specific. You may know this, right? Specific objectives and goals measure your progress. But I am surprised of the number of organizations that don't do it, and some won't do it. Now, it does take a particular kind of discipline and personal courage to hold specific people accountable for particular projects and performance objectives. But if you have the appetite for this, you will benefit enormously. Okay, I'm going to summarize now. Before I do, I'm going to ask you to subscribe, and you can do that by hitting the red button at the bottom right of the screen, or you can wait until the Z logo comes up, but I'm asking you to subscribe. So in summary, if you are specific and measure the evidence of success, if you tell a good story, you will please the brain and the heart. If you will please the biology of the people that you're speaking to, if you explain it fully and you give the reasons why, they will understand what you're saying. Tension, headache, pain, relieve headache fast. If you aim to be unique, not the best, you will find that it's best for long-term value because you're building the unique capabilities of the organization, not competing on every parameter against your competition. And if you root your strategy in your purpose with a view of the promised land, as Dr. Martin Luther King would say, if you do all of this, your brain will be satisfied, your left brain, your right brain, and your midbrain, and so will your heart. You will have a good strategy.